Look, I can't help but think that now might be a good time for a little fire and ice.
Please do not know. It's never a good time for fire and ice.
What happens when you mix fire and ice?
Warm water, baby.
It's bubbling, baby. Warm water. Warm water.
What's going on, everybody? It is time for Fire and Ice. Mike Tipton hanging out with you here. Not anywhere. I am at home right now doing the show. First time live on TikTok, so I'm giving a shout out to our TikTok audience over here. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, everywhere basically that you find your live streams. We're doing that right now as well. A lot of stuff we're going to talk about for those that are new to the TikTok stream or on TikTok that are new to the stream. We're going to be talking about sports and all kinds of things like that. I got a lot of opinions. You can write your opinions down on here. I will not allow you to be a part of the video just because no one else will be able to hear you, and that doesn't make for any good content. But if you want to be a part of the show, you can message. Don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, everywhere basically at Mr. Tipton33. I'm looking forward to seeing you all there and communicating with all of you in those places. Now, want to go ahead and get everything started on today. You might notice that Brandon the Iceman Cone is not with me right now, and that makes me a very sad boy. But it's okay because my dude is going on a cruise down through Mexico. I guess he's trying to find himself. We'll see what that is. He and I were together in Dallas this past week at a Texas Rangers game, so that was a lot of fun to get out there. We didn't run into each other, which was a weird part about it as well, but you know, Dallas, really big city. I also went out there for the state fair. I'll talk about that in a little bit as well, but I wanted to get things started off with Major League Baseball. Everybody has been complaining, or at least a lot of people have been complaining about Major League Baseball cutting into their games. How dare you, Major League Baseball, cut into our beloved college football games? Grr. If I wanted to watch baseball, I would watch baseball. However, whenever it comes down to people actually knowing what the hell is going on when it comes to sports, because you got all these people talking about like they know everything, they need to realize one thing. No one in their right mind is calling the home run number 62 that Aaron Judge hit the home run record. And I've seen all the memes out there. Wow, I can't believe I did all this to watch a guy become the 7th all-time home run hitter. Cool. You're an edgy person. He's number 7 all-time. Ha, 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 ha. But the fact of the matter is that what Aaron Judge did is pretty damn badass. 7 people, he is now the 7th, have hit 60 or more home runs. Congratulations to him on that. But it's not that ESPN was trying to shove baseball down your throat. What it was that ESPN has a contractually obligated purpose of showing you those games. Before ESPN got in bed with Major League Baseball, all of those cut-ins would be on MLB.TV or MLB TV. You can either get it at that one station and that was it. But ESPN, with their new contract with Major League Baseball, said that this is the route that we're going to start going. We are going to show all of the major moments in baseball. That's why they cut in during Albert Pujols. That's why they cut in during Aaron Judge going and chasing this home run record, because ESPN owes it to Major League Baseball to show those milestone moments on the biggest platform possible. ESPN doesn't care about what you guys want to watch. I don't know how I can put this out there any more blunt than that. Sports do not care about you, the fan. They don't care about me, the guy that talks about it. Sports literally only cares about the revenue coming in. It is a transactional type of relationship, and people that have listened to this show time and time again will know that I tell you that it is nothing more than a transaction. You show up, you give them money, Major League Baseball and ESPN and everybody takes your money, and they go on their merry little way. You can die tomorrow, or you can die giving them the money, and they would not care because at least they got that money. Major League Baseball was owed that through ESPN. So even though they cut into a couple of very bad college football games that nobody cared about, you had people complaining, how dare they do this? How could they have done this through my sacred college football? How? Damn you, ESPN. The simple fact of the matter is that ESPN owed it to Major League Baseball. So there is no other reasoning other than that they have to show milestone moments. If you're upset about that, if I wanted to watch baseball, I'd go watch baseball, right? Like I hear that from a ton of people. If I wanted to watch baseball, I'd watch baseball. It's not your decision. It flatly isn't. How many times have you been watching a football game where your favorite team is playing and they're either blowing out a team or they're getting the hell blown out of them and it gets cut away from because no one wants to watch an uncompetitive game? Do you get upset then? How dare they show the Lions and the Packers whenever I wanted to watch the Cowboys? No. You deal with it because you have no say in what gets broadcast. Buy your own radio station. Buy your own TV station. Buy your own streaming service. If you're going to sit there and complain about all that nonsense, do it, and you can create however you want your programming to look. But the simple fact of the matter is, I have no idea what was going on there. TikTok had me swipe over on something. I don't go live on TikTok very often, so I'm glad that I've had the amount of engagement that we did. I think we peaked at about 180 people watching on TikTok. Right now, currently at 17. So let's see if we can't get those numbers up. Give me topics you would like me to talk about. Doesn't have to necessarily be sports. We can do all kinds of stuff. Doesn't matter to me. Brandon, the Iceman Cone's not here to keep me in check. So at least I've got that going my way. I am going to turn off the invites for lives on TikTok just because it doesn't allow me to plug this into the other streams. I'm streaming on 5 other services right now, and it would be unfair for me to engage with y'all and then not, with the other people here. Although the other people, I did share a link. Let me actually share that link one more time if you want to be a part of today's show. I've already been called daddy on TikTok, and I'm extremely uncomfortable about it. Maybe that'll be the thing that makes me not come and do things on TikTok anymore. I'm an old guy. I'm not daddy. Fimus asking if I'm meat slinging right now. Yes, I am. I'm slinging that meat, baby. It's what I do best. But getting back to Major League Baseball and the people complaining about Major League Baseball cutting into their baseball games, it's going to happen. It's going to continue happening anytime that there's a milestone going on. The only thing that you can do is sit down and accept it as a fan of sports because, quite frankly, it doesn't matter what your opinion on any of that stuff is. Major League Baseball has a contract with ESPN. ESPN has that contract that they need to fulfill. That's simple. It's not them trying to shove things down your throat. It's not them trying to be, these jerks that run everything there is to run. It's simply them saying this is a product that we have to give our business partner. Plain and simple. You want to be a part of the show? I do have the stream link out there as well. If you want to click on that, you can go over to the Facebook pages, the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, Fire and Ice, and the Just the Trips 915 Twitch stream as well. I also put the link out there on Twitter if you want to be a part of it. Remember, at Mr. Tipton 33. So now that we've got all that out of the way, now that we've already, accepted the fact that Major League Baseball is going to continue to cut into these baseball games or into these football games to show really major milestone events, we can now finally move on to the fact that they are playing Major League Baseball playoffs right now, as a matter of fact. And in the Major League Baseball playoffs, we currently have a game going on right now. It's the bottom of the 6th between the Cleveland Guardians and the Tampa Bay Rays. That is a 0-0 score right now. I love this matchup. I don't watch a whole lot of baseball, but there's a lot of things that I do know about baseball. Is one, the Tampa Bay Rays are one of the best run organizations in baseball. And secondly, the Cleveland Guardians are one of the most surprise stories in baseball this year as being the youngest team in baseball, averaging 26 and a half years old, getting to the playoffs in a season that everyone thought they were just going to throw away this entire thing. The coolest thing about that matchup is these are not teams that spend a lot of money. I'm a Yankees fan, right? I will sit there and say this team spends way too much money. Someone asking, someone saying that I wish I were TikTok famous. I am not TikTok famous. I'm not famous at all in any aspect of the thing. I'm just some dude that gets to be able to have a microphone because I sound good. Perhaps you should sound good too. We'll see. Maybe I'll check out some of your stuff. Like my stuff. I'll go through and like your stuff. That's simple. But I like this matchup between the Guardians and the Tampa Bay Rays simply because it's such a fun matchup where you don't have these money-hungry teams like the Yankees, like the Red Sox, like the Dodgers that are just, dropping stacks of money on every single player they can get, buying or trying to buy a championship like the Yankees have done for the last 13 years. Proving time and time again that stuff doesn't necessarily matter whenever it comes to the real aspect of what sports are. I love Tampa Bay, Cleveland, because you have these teams that don't have the budgets that the Yankees and these other teams have, staying competitive all the time. It was interesting to see that Cleveland won their first playoff game yesterday. For the first time since 2017, they won a playoff game. It was super cool seeing that type of stuff, seeing those types of stories. Tampa Bay, whenever that team was first brought into Major League Baseball, whenever I was a kid back in 1998, that team was a laughingstock. That team was utterly horrendous. Nobody cared about the Tampa Bay Rays. They were a perennial loser. And at one point in time, we're even talked about as being contracted back because of the success that the Arizona Diamondbacks had. They changed management. They changed ownership. And now all of a sudden are this team that is just always in the playoff hunt, always in the hunt for a World Series. And it's really cool to see that because you're watching the team, again, struggle as hard as it possibly can. All of us have been out there. We've all had struggles. Hell, I try to struggle doing all this podcast stuff and trying to get revenue and things like that for it. It's a struggle. We all have our own struggles. So I can kind of relate to what Tampa Bay is doing, trying to get this stuff, climbing up that mountain, playing the Red Sox and the Yankees 39 times a year. Almost a quarter of their games, or almost a third of their games, are against those two teams that are out there just dropping money left and right, left and right. It's phenomenal to see a team like Tampa Bay be competitive, a team like Cleveland being as young as they are, being competitive, because you don't see that all the time in sports, right? Especially in the NFL. You don't see the super young team go out there and take over and do the stuff that you expect them to do, right? You got to go through the growing pains. Wow. The comments on TikTok make me remember why I don't want to do things on TikTok. I'm 14. Can you buy me alcohol? No. It's the dumbest damn thing in the world. But you know what? Keep commenting and putting stuff like that because it gives me, algorithm things. Thank you. But I will say this. Whenever you look at like the NFL, when you look at Major League Baseball, whenever you look at the NBA, you have teams that have to go through growing pains. And that is the coolest thing that we're seeing with these younger teams in Major League Baseball is that they don't go through these growing pains. In order for Kansas City to win their Super Bowl, they had to lose to Tom Brady, and then they had to, have all of those issues. I'm 44. Could you buy me alcohol? Sir, I will. Just let me know where to get it to. I've actually got a whole closet full of alcohol because of some sponsorships and things like that. So maybe I'll just send you some of that. If you're in the El Paso area, check out Sun City Distillery. Or you can also check out our friends over at Undisputed Craft House, 1881 Saul Kleinfeld, on the corner of Saul Kleinfeld and Montwood Boulevard, a sponsor of the show. They've been down since day one. The best selection of craft beer in the city of El Paso, I would dare say, in the entire state of Texas. Undisputed Craft House, 1881 Saul Kleinfeld. Or maybe you want to go to a craft beer brewery. You can go visit our friends over at Three Missions Brewery, 10179 Socorro Road, down in my neck of the woods where I was born and raised, Socorro, Texas, a.k.a. the Hood. But go down there, check out the great beer that they have, the pomegranate beer. They've got the Oktoberfest beer that they just came out with as well. All of those amazing flavors on display over at Three Missions Brewery, 10179 Socorro Road, down in Socorro, Texas. Again, though, I'm excited about the Major League Baseball playoffs. I am glad that they are here. As a Yankees fan, I am super excited about what they've got going on as well. The fact that this team is continually disappointing me is out of my mind right now. It's just, kind of in the background. It's kind of like being a Dallas Cowboys fan. I am also a Dallas Cowboys fan. It's out of my mind. I have hope at this point in time. I know eventually they're going to let me down. They're going to break my heart because that's what they do. But I have hope. And that's the cool thing about Major League Baseball playoffs. That's the cool thing about sports in general, right? Until your team is completely out of it, you've got hope. you have a feeling like, hey, maybe this could be our year. And I know the Cowboys fans get a bad rap for that. This year's our year, right? Like you hear all those memes and stupid nonsense like that. It's not necessarily the truth. Every fan base should be optimistic about going into a season. If you're not, I don't consider you a real sports fan. I consider you a weirdo who just wants to be a Debbie Downer all the time. Aww. Our guy Fimus asking, who do we have winning in the NFL games this weekend? I will bring up the NFL schedule here so that way I can actually go through it and tell you who I think. I had, because again, me being a jerk, and I'll put it out there on Twitter just because I like the one thing that I always said about this show, and I know I kind of got off on a tangent here, but the one thing that I say that I like about this show, and the one thing that I've always said about this show, is that I will always hold myself accountable. I expect you to hold me accountable as well. I'm not just going to be up here, be a gas bag and bloviate and say all these words and not hold myself accountable to it, right? My pick on Thursday between the Colts and the Broncos, that absolute dumpster fire of a game. I always say that bad football teams create great football games. And I knew that this was not going to be a great football game. I think the Broncos are an absolute dumpster fire. I think the Colts went in on Matty Ice a year and a half too late. And we're not going to see good football out of either one of these quarterbacks, Russell Wilson or Matt Ryan. So I chose, because I'm the only person in sports media bold enough to do this or dumb enough to do this, however you want to look at it. And I chose that they were going to have a tie. And I came that damn close to my prediction coming true. In that aspect, you kick the damn field goal, whoever the coach of the Broncos is. I want to say it's Vic Fangio, but it's not Vic Fangio. It's some other guy that they just hired this year that used to be an offensive coordinator, some garbage like that with Green Bay. So I had them mixing up, and they messed me up because I wanted the tie. And instead of going for the tie, they went for the win, which I guess is what you're supposed to do in that thing if you want to win games. However, they screwed me. The Denver Broncos screwed me out of my tie, my glorious tie that I was going to have. Games coming up this week, though. We got New York taking on Green Bay in London. Back-to-back weeks of London football. And last week it was a great game, right? Between the Vikings and the Saints going down to the wire. You had the double doink on the 61-yard field goal. It was a phenomenal game to watch. But I felt like here in El Paso, Mountain Time and West, even more West, it's got to be hard to wake up at 7:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, get that amped up for a football game, and then just have the absolute turds that we had in primetime games. Minus that of Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush, the Dallas Cowboys savior, Lord and Savior Cooper Rush. But watching those London games, it's hard for me to get up and actually watch those games, but I'm going to be doing it because I'm addicted to the NFL like a jerk. I have the Green Bay Packers defeating the New York Giants in London. I think the Giants are the most fraudulent 3-1 team that we have ever seen in the history of sports. That is not a good team. They have beaten very bad teams. They've won the games that are on their schedule, so you can't knock them on that, but they are just not a good team. The next one I have, the Buffalo Bills taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Buffalo, a 14-point favorite. I am going to be taking the Buffalo Bills in this game. Anyone that's been watching over the last couple of years knows that I am 100% in on the Josh Allen train. Want to give a shout out to my friend Carmen. I see that she is tuned in right here on TikTok as well. Thank you so much for being a part of today's show. Buffalo Bills. I've been in on the Josh Allen thing since day one. I think Josh Allen is going to be one of the best quarterbacks currently in the NFL, if not one of the best all time. The dude is just built different. That is who he is. He is that guy. I've got Josh Allen and the Bills slapping around the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know. It's always hard for me to do this. It's super hard for me to do this, and those that are watching on TikTok will understand this. Eventually, if I continue going on to TikTok, it's hard for me to take a 2-touchdown favorite because in the NFL, it's so hard to lose by 2 touchdowns. But Pittsburgh is just absolute garbage. And I think I'm going to take Buffalo to win by more than 2 touchdowns. And that's a shocker for me to at least do that. So I got Buffalo winning big. Take Buffalo if you're going to go out there and bet and gamble and do all that stuff. Not legal in Texas yet. It needs to get there. Cleveland on the road, or at home rather, against the LA Chargers. I got the Chargers in that. That's not even going to be a fun game. Cleveland has been decent, but they just don't have a quarterback. I think if they had Baker Mayfield, and they still had Landry, and they still had OBJ, they might be something worth watching. They've got Amari Cooper. It's a great story there. No longer with the Dallas Cowboys, still putting on a great effort for his team, but they just need so much more. This is a running team, and if they get down to a team like the Chargers, they don't have what it takes offensively to keep up with that team. So it'll be a little difficult for them to get the ball rolling. I think the Chargers are going to win that game. Chicago at Minnesota, nobody should watch that game at all, but I'll take the Vikings in it just because Chicago doesn't know how to complete a pass. If you look at Josh Fields, he looks scared to throw the damn football. You cannot be a quarterback terrified of throwing the football. So I think Minnesota is going to win that game pretty easily. New England at Detroit. The fact that you have to think about this game explains to you how far the New England Patriots have fallen since the great Tom Brady, the GOAT, the most handsome man in the history of handsome men, number one still on the 100-person man crush list, my own personal 100-person man crush list. Tom Brady still number one on that list. And it shows you how far this team has fallen over the last couple of years. Sans Tom Brady. Where I am actually going to take the Detroit Lions. They are going to be a fun team to watch. This is a team that's going to scrap and claw and do all the stuff that Dan Campbell said they were going to do. They're biting kneecaps and taking toes and doing all kinds of nonsense. I think the Detroit Lions are going to go into New England and beat the Patriots. Bailey Zappi is the Patriots quarterback this week. I'm not putting any money on the Patriots at all for the foreseeable future. I think this is Bill Belichick's last hurrah. This will be his last season. I don't think he's going to get fired. I know there's been murmurs out there that he'll be fired. He has earned the right to walk away from the game at the end of this season at least, and maybe move on to a different role with the New England Patriots. The Seattle Seahawks on the road against the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints, one of the best defenses out there. But again, they find themselves in the same position, a very similar position to that of what the New England Patriots have. You got your backup to your backup in this game. You got Andy Dalton in this game. Geno Smith on the other side. This is going to be a horrendous game to watch. But I like what Geno Smith has around him. Geno Smith has a cannon. Geno Smith makes smart decisions with the football, and he's got talent. He's got DK Metcalf. He's got Tyler Lockett. He's got Noah Fant. This is a team in the Seattle Seahawks that I think is a very well-built team. I don't think they're going to make a deep run in the playoffs. I don't even think they'll make it to the playoffs, but they're not going to lose this game against the New Orleans Saints and Andy Dalton, who was at one point in time the savior of the Dallas Cowboys, my Dallas Cowboys. The Miami Dolphins on the road against the New York Jets. I'm going to take the Dolphins in that one. I know there's no Tua in this game. Again, I'm going with the fact that this team just has a ton of talent. You've got Tua, or not Tua, but you've got Tyreek Hill. You got Jalen Waddle. You got Raheem Mostert. You got Mike Gesicki. This is a team on offense that is just fun to watch. Teddy Bridgewater can drop back and just throw the ball with that little noodle that he calls an arm and hit any one of those receivers at any given point in time. And then they all have speed, top-end speed that can just break away from any tackle. Not to mention, Dolphins have a pretty solid defense. I'm still not bought in on the Jets. I think the Jets are a horribly ran franchise. I think they're a horribly ran team, and I don't think that they're going to win this game against the Miami Dolphins. The Atlanta Falcons taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No Kyle Pitts. No issue for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are going to go in there and slap around the Falcons. Tom Brady, this was a thing that was brought up a lot whenever they played the Dallas Cowboys at the beginning of the year. Tom Brady has never lost a game to the Dallas Cowboys. 7-0 versus the Dallas Cowboys. He is 14-0 against the hapless Atlanta Falcons. Might be 12-0. Someone will fact check me on that. But he's got a bunch of wins against this team. He does not lose to the Atlanta Falcons. Tom Brady will not lose to the Atlanta Falcons this week. The Tennessee Titans on the road taking on the Washington Commanders. That's an easy one. We'll go with the Tennessee Titans on that one. Jacksonville hosting Houston. I love the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know what it is about them, and I feel like being motivated by the retirement of their former leader, Blake Bortles. I feel like the Jacksonville Jaguars will do what it takes to win this game against Davis Mills. I bet a lot of people are learning that that's the quarterback of the Houston Texans. Davis Mills, quarterback of the Houston Texans. You'll learn something new today on Fire and Ice. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars defeating the Houston Texans. Carolina Panthers taking on San Francisco. San Francisco's going to slap them around. That defense is real. They've got some good options on offense. Jimmy G, a game manager, good-looking dude. Number 15 on the man crush list is Jimmy G. So maybe I'm, just giving him a little more love than what he should be getting. But I'm going to be going with the San Francisco 49ers in that game as well. The Dallas Cowboys taking on the LA Rams. The Dallas Cowboys, a 5-point underdog in LA. It's always one thing whenever I bet with my heart as opposed to my brain. I don't know how the Rams are a 5-point favorite against the Dallas Cowboys. The Rams we've seen in the last couple of weeks have just put out a bunch of duds. Absolute nothing. Cooper Kupp is a great receiver. We all know that, right? He's phenomenal. One of the greatest of all time. Let's give him his flowers while we still can, right? Cooper Kupp's good. They got Tyler Higbee. He's good. They've got a pretty solid defense. They lost a lot of pieces, but they got a pretty solid defense led by Aaron Donald, do the LA Rams. Matt Stafford, good quarterback. The one issue that the Rams have is a huge, huge matchup problem against the Dallas Cowboys. And that is the fact that the LA Rams have a turnstile on the offensive line. Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, that entire defense for the Dallas Cowboys can feast on Matt Stafford. And that is what I believe is going to happen here. I am not sold, and I know I've gone out there and been like, oh, there's the controversy in Dallas for the quarterback position, blah, 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 right? I am not one of these people that's going to go out there and be like, okay, Cooper Rush is the man. But you would have to think Dallas has the better offensive line. Dallas has the better offensive weapons. Dallas has the better overall defense. It's hard for me to bet this game as a Cowboys fan. Logically, and breaking it down like that, it makes me say the Dallas Cowboys are going to be the team that wins that game. I don't know. 5.5 points is a lot for me for the LA Rams. I think the Dallas Cowboys easily are competitive in this if they lose. But I think the Dallas Cowboys have what it takes to win this game. I am not impressed with anything that the LA Rams are doing. Moving on, the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Our dude, Stephen Michael Puga, friend of the show, has been on the show a bunch of times. I was going to try to get him to co-host with me because Brandon is out of town, going on a sabbatical, making sure that he's getting all his ice. Brandon, the Iceman Cone, going down to Antarctica, getting as much ice as he can because it's been super hot here in Texas recently. Thanks, global warming. Oh, that's going to be a trigger point on TikTok, isn't it? Anyway, I don't care. We'll see what happens with that. So I wanted Stephen Michael Puga to be a part of the show, but he told me I can't do it, guy, because I'm in Arizona right now. I'm in Phoenix. I'm going to watch this game. So I got to give a little bit of love to the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not sold on Kyler Murray. I'm not sold on the Arizona Cardinals. I think they're a fraudulent team. I do love Cliff Kingsbury. I just don't know how much longer he is going to last in Arizona. I think he's kind of got the Wade Phillips syndrome in him, where he's a much better offensive coordinator than he is a head coach. That's where I would like to see Cliff Kingsbury come in, go be an offensive coordinator somewhere. Hell, maybe in Dallas whenever they wind up losing Kellen Moore, because that's eventually going to happen. So maybe you go to Dallas and become the offensive coordinator there. I feel like it's the last year for that. And who knows, it might be the last year with Kyler Murray in Arizona as well. I would trade him while the value is still high on him if I'm the Cardinals. I'm looking forward to Philadelphia just beating the absolute dog shit out of the Arizona Cardinals. This game is not even going to be close. This game shouldn't be a primetime game. This game should be an 11 o'clock game that gets flexed out of the thing, because this game is not going to be competitive at all. Philadelphia, and it pains me to say that, is going to win this game. And then finally, Cincinnati at Baltimore. I guess this is the primetime game, rather. I looked at my schedule wrong. Cincinnati at Baltimore. I'm going to go with Baltimore in this one. I like Lamar Jackson. I think he's doing a great job this year. I'm going to go Baltimore to win that game as well. And then finally, Kansas City hosting the Las Vegas Raiders on Monday night. Kansas City is a great team. I made my dude Jason Fitz upset at me the other day whenever I told him that I didn't even think that the Raiders could finish in the top 2 of the AFC West. It's just such a tough division. It's going to be Kansas City. It's going to be the LA Chargers, then the Raiders maybe, and then maybe the Broncos. You can interchange those 2 teams. We'll see what it is, right? But I've got the Kansas City Chiefs extending their lead over here, dropping the Raiders to 1-4 on the season. Want to know what y'all think? Get at me on the comment section. Get at me in the podcast as well. You can find the podcast a little bit later on today on Apple Podcasts, on Google, anywhere you get your podcasts, actually. It's a great place that you can go ahead and get those podcasts. Thank you so much. Now that we got the games out of the way, I wanted to talk a little bit about college football. We got some scores to get to right now. It's halftime between Indiana and Michigan. It is currently a 10-10 tie there. 23-7, the lead that number 8 Tennessee has over LSU. 16-10, the 19th ranked Kansas Jayhawks. I didn't think that this game was going to be close. I was sitting in the car yesterday as I'm driving home. I'm thinking to myself, this game is going to be an absolute blowout. No one is going to want to watch this game. TCU is going to go in there and slap around Kansas because we've never seen Kansas have success in football. I am eating my words right now. Live here in front of you, I said I was always going to hold myself accountable. I was wrong. I thought that this was going to be a blowout. And the fact that the Jayhawks have a 6-point lead in the third quarter with 7:36 to go shows again how much I know about any of this nonsense. It also goes to show how much any of us know about any of the sports. Like, let's be honest about that, right? Going into the half, it is a 21-10 lead for Mississippi State over Arkansas. Now then, I wanted to talk a little bit about the El Paso team, the UTEP Miners. Early on in the season, you would have thought that this team was going to lose a bunch of games. I thought this team was going to lose a bunch of games. I'm eating my words again right now. I thought that they were going to have a hard time even getting a win on the season. They're currently 3-3, going on the road to Baton Rouge to play Louisiana Tech, and they have an opportunity to get an above 500 record for the first time in quite some time. This is a big milestone for UTEP. I know it's not a huge milestone for other real sports fans and stuff that are out there, but it's a huge milestone for the UTEP Miners because this isn't a team that has any signature wins. This is a team that hasn't won a bowl game since 1967, 17 years before I was even born. Think about that. I'm 38 now. That's how long it's been for the UTEP Miners to get themselves a bowl win. I don't think they're going to win a bowl. I think they could win this game. Conference USA is a very easily winnable conference. I just can't put money on the UTEP Miners the way that I would like to put money on the UTEP Miners because, once again, college football is so unpredictable. Look at LSU getting stomped by Tennessee right now. None of us would have thought this. This isn't Peyton Manning. This isn't the 90s when Tennessee was good. This is LSU, right? Like, we all thought they were going to be good. They got old boy Brian Kelly from Notre Dame who took Notre Dame to national championships. Why can't we get this team to be good? LSU not being able to get it done. I love that stuff about college football. I'm a little sad because I was in Dallas over the week or during the week. I went to the State Fair. I wanted to be there long enough to watch the OU-UT game, the Red River rivalry. Try saying that thing 1,000 times fast. But I wasn't able to stay. I had to come home. I got, obligations and things like that I need to do. But I do want to tell you all a little bit about a place where you can go watch that game. And you can go watch that over at Bikini Joe's. Our friends over at Bikini Joe's, 3309 North Rich Beam on the corner of Rich Beam and Zaragoza on the far east side of El Paso. Every single Saturday, they got the $2 PBRs made with red beard. They got the BOGO nachos from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. So it's already started right now. Go ahead and get yourself some of that. $4 Vegas bombs and nickel pints on select draft beer. Each and every Sunday is Margarita Madness. Buy one jumbo, giant, or even tower margarita, and the second one is $1. Going out there, once again, Bikini Joe's, 3309 Rich Beam Boulevard on the corner of Rich Beam and Zaragoza Boulevard on the far east side of El Paso. Everybody, I want to thank you so much for tuning into a little Fire and Ice TikTok audience. Thank you so much for being engaged. I appreciate the love and the feedback that y'all are giving me on TikTok as well. Great slate of games to get on as the week progresses. Let me know your thoughts on the Major League Baseball season. Let me know your thoughts on the Major League Baseball postseason. Let me know your thoughts on the NFL season as it's going on right now. What's your favorite team? How are they doing? Do you expect them to win some games? Is your team winning a Super Bowl this year? I expect very few answers on the is my team winning Super Bowl this year. Very few positive answers on whether my team is winning the Super Bowl this year. I know the Dallas Cowboys aren't. It breaks my heart to say it, but they're not going to win a Super Bowl. They don't have what it takes. They can make a deep playoff run. That defense is legit, but it all depends on how healthy Dakota Prescott is. Dakota Rain Prescott. Once again, everybody, thank you so much for being a part of the show. I will see you all next week. Fire and Ice whenever it returns.